All right then, welcome back to the CounterStrike Casuals podcast. Bit of a weird one. It feels jaded. Hang on. Alright, I tell you what, I've got this weird thing. Yeah.
It is. It's not that weird.
Do you know? Well, do you know why this is weird? Okay, for our listeners, the last weekend, God, I'm recording this on a Sunday. Last weekend, I hosted the 4th annual Casual Lands. It's the 4th one, and I worked that out. Second one at my house, and basically there was a load of booze left, and I've slowly worked my way through it. Okay, normally I don't actually booze on these podcasts anymore unless it's a special occasion, but I've worked my way through it, and this is the only beer left. So shout out to Ely, who we'll talk about that in a minute. Shout out to Ely for leaving his Guinness. Cheers, mate. I tell you what, let's just run the credits and then we can chat. Yeah, how about that?
Okay, let's go.
Also, I'm conscious I said credits there. I meant
Yeah.
intro. Do you know what I mean? We're not ending. Also, this drink is so bad. The only time I had a good Guinness was actually in Ireland, and I think it was just because I was in that Irish mood.
Do you think it does taste different? Everyone says it tastes different.
It just tastes like shit, mate. This is so bad.
I do like a Guinness, to be fair. I don't drink it that often, but I do like it.
It's just like... It's like a...
You don't look like you're enjoying that at all.
It's like if you just blended meat and went, here's some iron, and I don't even know how you make iron, but here's iron, we'll throw it in there. That's iron. That's what that tastes like. It's not nice.
Right. You're insulting a lot of people here, mate.
Listen, I see the stats. Most of our listeners are not from Ireland. If they are, I don't give a fuck, man. I went to Dublin once, it was fun. Anyway, so we had a LAN event, right? And listen. We still had a few drinks today. So we had a LAN. The idea was, there's 4 of us. Everyone has a mix of games they like to play. I think we mentioned in the last podcast. Me and Briley clearly like CS2. We had a really good friend of ours called Ely, who's adamant he doesn't like CS2. And our friend Sam, who he's kind of in the fence, right? He plays lots of different things. So what we did was, we went into it thinking we're not going to be too pushy on CS2. We'll see how the vibe goes. We'll see what the rhythm brings. Turns out we pretty much 99% played CS2, right? It was a massive success for us.
Yeah, same as last time. And when you say Ely doesn't like CS2, it's not like, no, I don't really like that game. He actively dislikes the game. He likes Valorant. He really disliked CounterStrike.
We played a Valorant game, and again, because we're so casual, the problem is there was so much going on. Even for him, who is a casual Valorant player, he couldn't work out what was going on. He couldn't work out who was throwing stuff against the wall to kill him. He couldn't work out how things were getting diffused without him being in the site. So naturally, we went to a game which was simple yet very effective in its gameplay, and had tactics that meant that a team of 4 people could play and enjoy. And hey, the first night we did 4:30 p.m. till 4:30 a.m. So it was 12 hours of play, and I think the majority of that was CS2.
Yeah, it's just that game, isn't it? Like, it's competitive. When the comms are flowing and everyone's calling and stuff, it's just way more fun. What game do you think stole the weekend away? So we'll run through the games we played.
Yeah, so it was CS2, Valorant, obviously. We played Chain Together. We played Helldivers 2. We played Worms. We played a bit of New World. What else did we play?
Mate, people are listening to this like, Worms?
Yeah, we played Worms.
Golf with friends?
Golf with friends. Golf with friends always turns up. And
is there like a pro esports for Golf with Friends? Because I might join it.
Remember when we went to Insomnia Birmingham, RIP, it's sad that place is not still going. They had a Golf with Friends tournament, and I remember saying to you, this Golf with Friends I see everywhere. Like, it pops up all the time. And obviously we just went to play CounterStrike, and then when we played it at it was like the second LAN we've held. It was the MVP, man. It just stole the show. I think this year the funniest, most like actual laugh out loud moments came from Chain Together. However, CS2 was the MVP.
Again.
It was the MVP. There was no better game. I mean, I actually enjoyed Helldivers 2. It got a bit of a bad rep. I feel like we kind of gave up on it very early because it was the first game we played. I enjoyed it, but CS2 stole the show, man. It was just classic. It's such a beautiful. It's when you've got four friends and you're just playing, and there's no expectations as well because some of our guys are quite low ranked. It was like just like chilled. Love it.
Yeah, it was good. It was fun, and thank you for hosting again. I had a really good time, and I was just actually I went for a meal at my dad's house with the family. So my stepbrother and my stepsister were there, and we were chatting, and they I don't even know how this got brought up, but I was saying, oh yeah, we just had this gaming thing at my friend's house, and my brother-in-law, well, they're not married, but my brother-in-law and my stepbrother were like, "Yeah, that sounds sick." And I was like, "It is. It's really like it's so good." And we said this at the weekend. It's so good that we do that. And a lot of people that aren't really into games might be like, "What? You just sit and play games?" But it's so much better than like meeting up just to go for a night out or just to go on the piss. Do you know what I mean? Because although we're on the piss, we're chilled. We're in our environment. We've not got any ag from anyone of the outside world. It's just us four chilling, playing games. We can do what we want. You know, you can go for a piss. You don't have to fucking queue up. You don't have to spend an absolute fortune on drinks and whatnot. It was just sick, man. I just think it's such a good idea. More people should do it.
No, there's not a better weekend than the weekends I look forward to most, and we even I think on the second night as well because we were jaded and we were a bit tired. Maybe
We went hard that first night. I
like
think
we
we had
are
about
tonight.
15 beers each.
Yeah, we were a bit tired, and what we ended up playing Catan, the board
Contender
game.
board game, yeah.
Yeah, great. That was good fun as well. That was just like a different like vibe. It like switched it up. That was a vibe. So we did that, and yeah, a really good weekend. But listen, let's talk about CounterStrike. Let's get into it,
Yeah,
okay?
let's get into it. Let's go.
Okay. So the big thing that we were talking about off air, we'll talk about the Four Horsemen podcast with Cassard and the bleed situation.
Yeah.
Listen, that whole situation has made me reconsider any thoughts or any ideas I had around Cassard as a personality and as a person in the scene. I mean, from what he said, he was willing to put everything on the line. I feel like if you're in his team or you're related to him in some way in the industry, if he's that type of guy, like if you're in trouble, you call him up and say, Cassard, I need this sorting, or I need some help here, or I need some money, whatever. I feel like that guy's going to sort it out, or he's going to try to sort it out. Like he would be genuinely like a absolute benefit to most organisations, and I think he's obviously he's played it very well. He knows what he's doing, but like my point is he's come across as incredibly well, and I think he deserves to get a job or a role in what he wants to do next. I don't know what that is. He said he'll do GMing. He said he'll do coaching, go back to casting, whatever. Like that guy, in my opinion, is rose up my ranks, and like I just feel like he's. I don't know. Just feel like a good guy. I don't know how you feel about the whole situation. I know you had some strong opinions on the questions being or the kind of feedback he was getting on the podcast, but in terms of what he came across as, it was just like fair play to him, man. Like he was trying to make the best out of a bad situation.
Yeah, so I know you just shouted about, but I think there's a lot of like competitiveness amongst podcasts and people in that kind of industry. We're not in that industry, but we do this just for fun. We have jobs. We don't make any money from this. But that was the Four Horsemen podcast, right? From something Nations or something. The post from on YouTube.
I don't know.
Anyway,
Three
anyone would
Nations.
find it if yeah, the Free
One of
Nations.
Torrens and
Anyone
Richard
would find
Lewis's
it.
ones.
Yeah, and I'll be completely honest. I listened to the podcast. I think it was probably like this time last week, or something like that. So my memory of it kind of faded slightly, but yeah, I think Kassad came across quite well. So he was just describing the situation with Bleed and explaining like what the amount of shit they went through, and basically it was just it just stems down to the org just not paying people and not being interested. And when I say paying people, that's in terms of like other organizations for players they might have bought, or actual players or people that work for the organization, or even like ordering t-shirts. I think he ended up ordering t-shirts, or the organization that of one of the tournament organizers bought t-shirts for them. Um, it just sounded like an absolute shambles. And like you said, Cassard seems like the perfect person you'd want in your organization. Like one of those people that are like far and few between, especially when you're running a business, is the type of person that you'd want on board. And um, the problem I had, I think Cassard came across really well, but then like you said earlier, he was paying for things off his own back. He was so I think he gave some players some money. He Bleed, the organization, like to pay in um, cryptocurrency, right?
Well, no, I think that was their. I think it was originally would have been cash, and they're like, "Would you accept
Yeah,
cryptocurrency?"
because they got
Which might be
it's out.
dodgy.
Yeah, people found out that they got a lot of money through crypto. Like that funded quite a lot of their business, and they obviously couldn't make money elsewhere, so they were trying to pay people in crypto. So I think Kassar took some money in crypto, which Richard Lewis kind of had an issue with as well. Um, he's he's just one of those people that's like, oh, you shouldn't have done that. Yeah, it's easy to fucking say in hindsight, isn't it? So he ended up getting the money out and like taking the cash over to one of the players who had a 6-month-old baby and had no means of putting food on the table for his family, basically. So Kazard had the money literally physically took to him, which I just think is golden. Like that's such a good thing to do. And then like halfway through him telling this story, Richard Lewis pops up and he's like, you can kind of say, oh, he's playing devil's advocate, and he did kind of address this towards the end of the podcast, but I still think it was just rude as fuck and really inconsiderate. And I get these journalists; they like to ask the difficult questions and they like to play devil's advocate, but you still come across as a cunt because he started saying to him like, "Do you not think that you're kind of helping Bleed get away with stuff like this? What the fuck are you talking about? Like he's helping the players out. You don't give a fuck about the organization. He's helping the players." Um, and then he said a lot more stuff. Like, I don't know if you remember what other things he was saying, but
No, but
I
you've
think he came
you,
across as a cunt.
mate, you weren't very happy. Basically, you've kind of hit the nail on the head. You were upset because Cassard's gone about his way to help, especially someone with children, to make sure that everything's all right. And he kind of was like, "Well, look, are you kind of just playing into the orcs' hands here by doing all this?" Which is just bollocks, isn't it?
He was kind
Like,
of saying, yeah, you're part of the problem, Cassard. That's kind of like what he was saying. And whether he was just saying that to be play devil's advocate or
for
what reason he
clicks.
was saying that, yeah, I think he's in this frame of journalist mindset where it's like, I'll be a bit of a cunt, it gets more clicks.
Listen,
And I don't like stuff like that.
I'm not saying that like I would do that for someone. So that's the problem here. Was like if Cassard would do that for someone with kids, like I'm almost too selfish. Or I'll be thinking, well, I can't do it because I've got my own kids or whatever. So I don't know. I don't know if Cassard's got kids, but the fact that he would just be like, let's just go do that. That's fucking mental. Like you
I
should.
don't know this, but the way I look at it is I would have done that. I think I would have done that if I was in Cassard's shoes. He seems like he could afford it, right? He seems like he paid for quite a lot of stuff out of his own pocket.
Yeah, but you don't know
And
that he might have just
it
been paying
was
for it out of his own pocket because he
well, some
cares.
of it was like fucking 10 grand, 20
Yeah,
grand,
but these
like
guys
a
get
lot of
paid.
money.
They get paid good money, but you don't know that he could afford it all, or like it didn't put
That's
a
that
difficult situation on his
that
family.
yeah, that's very true, but it's not necessarily my point. My point is more so that I think he feels like being the coach of the team, he feels a responsibility to look after those players, and he's a very vocal person who probably feels he's a bit more able to get that money back if he needs it. So if he's like, okay, I'll give you guys some money because I know some 18-year-old gamer is not going to kick off with the organization owners and say, give me my fucking money, but he would. And I think people are more likely to listen to Kassad than some 18-year-old kid who's, might be a little bit introvert and might not go and ask for his money. But I think Kassad might. So Kassad is like, here you go, here's some money, and then
I'll
he'll
sort the
go and
rest.
get it back. Yeah, I'm not saying that happened. It sounds like it didn't, to be honest. But maybe that's where Kassad felt a little bit more comfortable doing that.
Interestingly, it's probably the quietest I've ever heard Thorin in a podcast.
Yeah, he didn't
There
really
was he
talk for the
did
2 hours,
he was just
which
listening, which
made it more listenable for me.
I mean, listen, you know my feelings there, but I think it made it like feel real as well. Like Cassard was really revealing things here that were like no one knew, and it felt very like raw. So it was a really good podcast. Like if you haven't listened to it, go back listen. Also, one it might have been Thorin or even Richard Lewis said. And again, I thought this before when these things happen. It's like, why did you make an org? Like I think it was Richard Lewis, and he said, what drove you to make an org and then just scam everyone? And it's bizarre, isn't it? Like if we made an org now, we made the casual orgs, like we'd do it because we just would love to see like that name up there. We'd be gassed. We'd be going to the events. Like we'd be there in the wings. Like come on, boys. And like when we had our interview with Sam, Into the Breach owner, go back and listen to it if you haven't. Like you could tell the passion. You could tell like the vibe of someone that wanted an esports organization to succeed and be sustainable. Whereas like, why would you just make one just to scam people? It's just insane.
Yeah, Sam even spoke about how addictive it is. Like he was just saying like, if what did he say? Like if you ever want to try heroin or you don't want to try heroin, but you want to see what it's like, do get into esports. But yeah, I agree with you.
And
I
he
think
also said in our interview that there would be a big organisation that would come into trouble. And I have since clarified with Sam. I've not asked him if I can confirm this, but I have since clarified with Sam. Were you talking about Bleed? Because it was like a week and a half before this broke,
yeah,
and he did message me and said yes, that's what I was talking about, Bleed. So he did
yeah,
kind of pre-warn this on our podcast.
yeah. So if you're a regular listener to the podcast, you probably had an inkling before anyone else. But yeah,
Good podcast, very interesting.
yeah.
What happens with the rest of them then? Where would we like to see Cassard go? I hope
I
he
mean,
lands
any
where he
team would be
wants.
lucky to have Kassad. I think he'd be a great coach, but kind of like a manager for an org or something. If they need like a
Yeah,
CounterStrike leader, manager type person, I think he'd be brilliant.
I always got the impression as well as like always trying to do the best deal. I mean, maybe that's because they
I
had no
think,
fucking money.
yeah, I think he was proper in a shit situation as well because I think there was a lot of eyes on him as soon as he stepped into that position at Bleed. I think maybe because of the whole Huxley controversy. So there was a lot of eyes on him anyway. So I think that kind of pushed him a little bit, like made him he wanted it to work because of that. And in terms of the org doing what they did, I don't think they probably had those intentions. The obviously ran by a bit of a horrible cunt. Anyway, I need to stop using that word. But I can't
It's
think of any others to describe some people.
public
But
service announcement for everyone. This is a Sunday night podcast where we've had enough of this week. We've both had enough of this week, but we need to put something out because it is our duty now to do so. But listen, okay, let's move on from Four Horsemen's, okay?
Yeah.
So let's talk about Blast. So Blast just finished this morning. So in the UK it's 10 p.m. 9 p.m. It finished at like 11 a.m. this morning. And oh, okay, so G2 won. Okay, guys. So bear in mind when G2 got 13-0 by Liquid in their first game. Yeah, the opening game, G2 got 13-0 by Liquid. I text my good friend here, Breely, just laughing. I was. You've never seen me more gas. I was just buzzing. Okay. So I'm just there, and I actually think I might have the receipts for this. You know, do you know what receipts is? When you like you text this, and you're like, you've got it on. Hang on.
Go on, he's looking at his phone.
I know. Now, okay, I shouldn't be doing this. Sorry, I've had it.
No, go on.
No, because I think I text you. No, I can't find it, obviously. But I swear I text you saying, after I went on a mad rant about NiKo, I think I text you saying G2 will go on and win this now. Yeah.
Yeah, you did say something like that. Okay, yeah, so I can't remember where you said it, but
I basically text you say after the 13-0.
It could have been a voice note.
Oh yeah. There's no receipts to that. No. I will find it, and if I find it, I will post. I will post it on Twitter. Go check our Twitter. Follow us on Twitter, or X, whatever. So what I want to talk about, yeah, and I've been such an advocate of this, yeah. Okay, so basically, G2 won it. Congratulations, G2, on another substantial win in your fucking careers, boys. It is bollocks. Also, it's ironic that you guys bought. My friends here bought me a G2 jersey, by the way. I've got a G2 jersey. I couldn't be further away from a G2 fan. If you've listened to the podcast, you know how I feel about NiKo. I'm going to put this statement out now. He's the most overrated professional in CS. And I'm not even talking CS2, I'm talking CSGO. NiKo is so overrated, it is unreal. Let's just think about this for a minute, okay? This guy has had 16 LAN wins. Okay, 16. Zero majors. He's won Dallas. He's won Sydney. IEM Dallas, IEM Sydney. Brilliant. He's won Cologne once. He's won Cato once. Both Cologne and Cato are last year. He had, at one point when he was on FaZe, he had Carrigan, he had Rain, he had fucking Olofmeister. Olofmeister, one of the best players to ever do it. Rain, we know how good he is. Carrigan, one of the best shot caller, is the GOAT IGL. In his current G2 team, he has his best mate Hunter, or his cousin Hunter. He has Munacy, the best player in the world. He has whoever else he fucking ever wants. I mean, Mabs is an incredible player, but before that is whoever he fucking wants. Like, they build these teams around NiKo. The guy's never won a major. He seems to like farm these like low to mid tournaments in the tier 1 sphere, and he gets so much praise, and it is simply because half of the casters, half of the talent either played with him or coached him. But I'll go one step further. NiKo. He's got this. Okay, I don't know what. It's like a sportsman white guy aura. Yeah, I don't. Listen.
White guy.
Okay, what I'm trying to say is, he doesn't look like Donk. He doesn't look like Zaru. Zaru's an overweight French geezer who's quiet. Don't like talking much. Simple.
Oh, you're talking appearances now.
Yeah, I'm talking like that.
You're now, so you're not just attacking his game. You're now attacking his appearance.
No, because I'm saying NiKo's the opposite. NiKo's like your stereotypical, like, good looking.
Oh, so you're saying they're biased because he's like a good-looking guy and
He's just got that aura, you know what I mean? Like that guy that, like, he's got that Ronaldo aura. Like, he should be. Oh, it's NiKo. Even the name, like, look at Donk. Donk is a name. Actually, when you say it, Donk, it's not actually that nice. Do you know what I mean? Like, but NiKo, it's stylish, it's flary, it's NiKo. The guy does fuck all. He does fuck all the time.
Right, okay.
Munacy again, MVP. Hunter
Right,
even
so-
played better than them in the final today against the spirit that only has Donk, and they only have Donk, and they really
So
do.
what do you think? What do you think it is with NiKo? Because he's obviously not a shit player. Do you think he's just too inconsistent for you, or do you think he's not as good as people out, or he just has a high ceiling but he just rarely gets there?
NiKo will never feature in my top 5 player list. Okay, now I'm concerned because we did a top 5 player list on CS:GO. Go look at it on the YouTube. And I can't remember if I put NiKo in. I don't think I did. I actually don't think I did, because that I've always held this opinion. What's he missing? He's missing turning up at a major and just carrying a team, doing a JL, doing a fucking simple, doing a device, carrying you over that line in a major or
So
a
you
big
think-
tournament. A big tournament. Bro, he's won Cologne and Cato once. It was last year. We've had to wait till last year for him to win one of those, which are the second in command to a major. So,
Yeah, I wanted to kind of play devil's advocate and kind of argue with you and put a case up against you, but I just can't find it in myself to do it. I think I'm not that big of an eco fan to do it. I think yeah, I just don't have it in me. But I kind of agree with you. Like when I'm watching as well, like Monacy has his moments. When I'll be honest, when I was watching Spirit versus this final, Spirit versus G2, and I still got the vibe that Stonk was the best player on the server. And I know this is conversation between Monacy and Donk, but the stuff Donk does for me just really, really stands out. And everyone's like kind of laying into Spirit whenever they don't do well, and it's like it is Donk basically. Like, don't get me wrong, Shiro's a good player, but he's no way near Monacy's level. No way near,
No.
and his
Or
impact is no way
Zyru,
near.
no way.
And yeah, and Donk's carried these guys to a final and actually given them trophies already, and he's a 17-year-old kid. Like
Yeah, it's insane.
that that round I text you when he got the 4K with the Deagle was just outrageous. The guy is just unreal. So when I was watching it, even though they were losing, I still felt like Donk was the best player on the server. Don't get me wrong, Monacy's not far off, but Malbs was sick as well. Like Malbs and Monacy were the best two players on that on G2.
I think
And
you just said Donk was the best player, and so listen, I've been a big Donk head, but Monacy is probably the best player in the world. It probably goes Monacy, Donk, JL. That's probably how this year looks. And if no, but
I would say Zywu,
JL, if JL's up,
Zywu,
if JL's
Donk, and Monacy. Like
yeah,
Zywu's more consistent for me. Like the others are both really good, and I think they will get better, and I think they could overtake Zywu. But
listen,
the others, yeah, Donk's. I mean, Zywu's consistent.
we can have this debate till the cows come home. All I know is there's one overrated player that gets meant. The G2 get talked about, and people still talk about NiKo too much over Monacy.
Well,
It's just a Monacy
back
show.
to my point.
There's
I
no
mean,
other thing to discuss.
I was watching it and I was like, I just feel really harsh. It's like we're like, oh, who's going to win this game? Well, look at it. If you could say like Donk's the best player, right? Let's just say Donk's the best player on the server, just for argument's sake. Who's better, Shiro or Monacy? Clearly, fucking Monacy.
Monacy, yeah.
Malbs or Zontix? Clearly
Malbs.
Malbs. NiKo or Zontix? Clearly
NiKo.
Clearly NiKo. G2 are by far the better team.
Yeah,
They've got better players all round. They should win that all day.
And they did win it all day.
They basically just have Donk.
Yeah.
And I looked at the stats after I watched it. I don't think I watched every single map.
By the way, can I just say the new 2.1 rating is brutal. Do you not feel like players get really rated? Like you either get like smashing ratings or you're just fucking dead. Like,
Yeah,
it's pretty...
yeah, it seems like that. Yeah, like they're basically the winning team like have ridiculous ratings, and
it just
losing
seems
team
like
has
so
really
extreme.
bad.
I mean,
I wonder
again,
if we
it's
get out of that.
well.
Back to my point, anyway.
Go on.
Anyway, NiKo was the fourth highest rated on G2's team. Monacy was top, then Hunter, then Malbs. I think Malbs is so underrated. He's so good. And the last 3 months I checked, I thought, oh, I wonder whether that's just this tournament. No, NiKo's the third highest rated on the team in the last 3 months.
Mate, and
Malbs and Monacy are way, not way higher, but Malbs is a little bit higher. Monacy's way higher.
And I watched the final, and I actually thought Snacks had more impact than fucking Hunter as well. I mean, again, just eye test, but like I thought Snacks was like involved a lot more. I mean, Hunter as well. Hunter and NiKo together, they're just so overrated. It's just
I do think NiKo's a good player.
Obviously,
I think he's overrated.
I'm not saying it's overrated. I'm just saying the love this guy gets.
Just because we're on the hate train right now, we're gonna get some backlash.
The love this guy gets, it is so drilled into the scene. When you actually strip it back and you look at what this guy's achieving, he's a serial underachiever. That's what he's really good at. He's really good at coming second when it matters most and winning the tournaments that like aren't that important, and then he gets dragged through it by Monacy. And Monacy is being held back by him. NiKo should go to Falcons. And the more I look at it, go to Falcons, they're fucked. They're going to be an average team. Monacy should now probably go to somewhere like a Spirit, actually. Then we should mix up Zontix as well. And we've actually got a really good team in Spirit. We've got a really good Russian team in Spirit. I don't know who else you put in there. Don't know. I'm just vibing.
I was going to say, can we move on to Spirit? Because I feel like G2 get all the attention from everywhere. Spirit needs to make some changes because, like we've just mentioned numerous times, they're just getting absolutely carried by Donk.
The problem is they don't have that Malbs. They don't have that Yimfa.
Yeah, if they just had,
they don't have that bit. They don't have, like they have just Donk. That's all they've got, and like that's just he's like dragging them through to finals, which is that is why he is so good, and that's why
they're overperforming at the minute. Spirit are overperforming.
Yeah.
G2 are underperforming.
Yeah, you nail on the head, bro. Like the fact that Spirit get to finals is insane because Donk's just you might as well just fucking let Donk play and just see what happens.
Moving on, I just want to mention Astralis. What are you saying about them?
Okay,
Is this all fake?
Is it all fake? What is little elbow thing? I don't know. Listen, I mean, again, when
Astralis doing well in this tournament, like they finished third or something.
It's
right?
not fake when you've got players like Device, Stown, Yabi, and Caden. You know how I feel about Caden. I actually think Caden's a very good player. I think you are going to go places. It's actually a better team than it was 6 months ago, but they're still going to lack that like. It's a bit like Spirit, I think. They lack that like killer blow, like killer bite.
Is it just the new heroic, like the old heroic?
It ain't far, is it? Oh, it's not far off.
They're gonna get to finals and not finish it.
Or like deep runs and then we're done. I don't know. I think my biggest disappointment was probably Vitality. I actually thought they were gonna wipe the floor with G2, but Monacy turned up. He just kind of stopped the flow. But I actually thought Vitality would go to the final. Yeah. What's my feeling on Astralis? I like them better than I did, but that's because Caden's in the team and it's kind of built some bridges that I felt sad that were burnt.
You think they're a little bit more legit now?
Yeah, man. Actually... Well, I like Caden. It's always respect to Caden, even when he was a Liquid. The geezer has good clutch ability. He's a good leader. Like I would want to play for Caden. When I look at people I want to play for, I'd want to play for Karrigan. I'd want to play for Caden. Who else? Maybe a bit of Shui, although I don't know, he's a bit young. I'd want to play for Alexi B. I wouldn't want to play for Chopper. Do you know the one thing about Chopper I've realised as well? I don't know if anyone else does. The geezer has a cigarette in his mouth the second around, like the map ends. Like I've seen that geezer pull a cigarette out, pop it in as soon as the map ends, like he's going for a smoke. Which is
the CS community love a cigarette.
Mate, I'm not against cigarettes, you know that, but my point is, it's like fucking hell, mate. You're on camera, just chill. Like there will be young geezers, what young kids watching this, just chill. Like you don't need to be so like on it. Do you know what I mean? Anyway,
back to you mentioning Vitality before. I was going to say because I used to think Vitality were like the most stacked team in Tier 1, but now I think it's G2. G2 take that biscuit, and also Vitality. We must say
Vitality did play with Jax, which I did forget.
Yeah, I wanted to bring that up. If they played with Mezzy instead,
King Mezzy comes back.
Yeah, they could have done a lot better. Not that Jax was awful, but I mean, Mezzy can have his moments, can't he? So I think.
Oh, Mezzy's the workhorse of the team that's underrated in the scene again because he does all the horrible stuff no one wants to do.
Yeah, I think they could have done a lot better, but it's all in hindsight.
It's a shame Mouse didn't get further as well. I just feel like, those boys, they need it. They need to just get there. Like, they're a team you just want to do well. Like, it's just a shame. I don't know what...
Yeah, they got too old by Astralis. They got too old by Vitality.
They got digged by Vitality. They didn't play well. And I think the problem is, it's like, if you're going to shit the bed, like... If you shit the bed that many times at a LAN in front of a crowd, something's got to change. You got to bring someone in that's like, right, boys.
Don't know. They're so young. I'm like, I don't know. FaZe needs to fucking change something.
We're moving on to FaZe. Boy, everyone listen. We're quick firing, yeah, because there's a Sunday night. We're on one. We're on one. I've said this before. I'll say it again. I think Karrigan is tired of the FaZe project.
Really?
Yeah, I think he's tired of it. I think he's... You ever been somewhere and you're just like, I'm kind of done with the aesthetics, the atmosphere, the vibe. You're just like, I just want a change. I want to change the scenery. I want to mix it up. I think that's where he's up to with FaZe. I think he's done everything he can. He's won a major. He's won lots of other tournaments. He's built various teams up. And he's at a point where he's like, listen, I don't know. He might not be saying it out loud, but I think that's what in his mental is actually happening. I think.
Yeah, yeah, you might be right. I think yeah, a lot of people get that with work and whatnot. Yeah, you could be right. I mean, I felt like we spoke to Def for FaZe as well. They need to make some changes. I think after the major, those changes will come. Um,
Okay.
yeah, I don't have loads to say on him to be honest. Maybe you're right. Carrigan definitely wants to stick around. He said that numerous times. So
Oh, we should never quit. What are you on about? It's Carrigan. The guy's the best RGL that's ever graced this game. All versions of this game. There's never been a better RGL than Carrigan.
who's better, Jail or Carrigan?
Well, Carrigan. Carrigan actually take Jail's head in a 1v1. Listen, you know what's up next. You know what's coming up next, okay? Oh,
Yeah, I want to hear about my boys,
what? Who?
my Into the Breach boys.
Okay, let's talk about Into the Breach. Into the Breach watch, because we are an Into the Breach podcast now. We're not sponsored by them. We're not owned by them, but
We might as well be.
I mean, it's hard to keep up with how many games these guys
Still plugging that
play.
Brewdog on. I know you hate it, but I've got the Aldi Brewdog.
Still drinking the Guinness, which is awful.
Right. How are Into the Breach doing then?
So they played a game today. They lost to Amcal. They lost to E-Clock a couple of days ago, and they beat. Bro, Into the Breach plays so many games, and all these games are like tier 2. Like, it's hard to keep up what's happening. But generally, I think on the uppy ups, they're beating most people. They're playing well. I think
We've got a game tonight. Oh no,
no, it's tomorrow morning, 11
tomorrow. Yeah.
I think they're generally on the ups. Like, they're doing well. Shout out Into the Breach, and it's shout out
They're
Smooth.
doing well. They're not as consistent as I would like them to be, but they're a fun team to watch. But they should be in these shares.
Yeah. We just before the podcast started as well, we watched the Thunder Pick final, didn't we? We watched Mongols Heroic, which
Oh
Mongols
yeah.
decimated Heroic in. Which,
Oh mate, they look so good.
That team is insane when they want to play. Like, honestly, and also them going into that makes you think like they must be a shoe-in for a deep run at the major, because they actually, when they're like on form and it's like flow state, they're hitting shots. Like, there's no one better than the Mongols. Like, they're actually fucking insane.
Yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong, that tournament wasn't exactly stacked, but Heroic have been good recently,
Yeah,
and Mongols just tore them apart. Mongols look so good.
they were hitting every shot. We literally just watched it together, didn't we? And like,
The
Heroic
last
had
map,
no answer.
13-2.
Oh, mate, they had no answer for anything. Every shot, it was like every duel was just getting.
It's like all the players are really like mechanically sound.
Mate, Senzu, Sick, 910, like, they're just such good players. So, and this current Mongols team, the current iteration, is just so good to watch. Like, and that's the one. So, right, let's move on. Then we're gonna finish up because we're done. But listen, next is the major. What we're saying, it starts.
Let's go.
So,
oh, we got to pick a winner already. When's it starting?
8 days is the RMRs.
8 days.
Okay. So, not a winner. Who's going to do a deep... Okay, let's pick 3 teams that are going to do deep runs. Deep runs meaning to playoffs. So, like, what, quarterfinals onwards, maybe. So, 3 teams that are going to go do deep runs. Let's pick them. I can go first.
I need... Yeah, you go first. I need to get them up.
Okay. I'm going to go Mongols, because they are fucking good and they're legit. I am going to go Navi because it's just like the easy one to pick. Because listen, they didn't have a good blast. It doesn't matter, man. It's Navi. These guys know actually how to win nowadays. They're the team that know how to get over the line. They're the team that know how to just fucking bang it in when it needs to. And I'm going to go a bit rogue. And I'm going to go Heroic. Because I think... What? Yeah, no, I am going to go rogue and go Heroic. Because I think that stuff's starting to come together for them. I think when they all start firing all cylinders, they're going to have a nice deep run. And they're going to get into that arena. And they're going to have a run. So, Mongols, Navi, Heroic. My 3 little picks of a deep run.
Right, I do think Mongols could do quite well. I think Mouse Vitality and Navi. That's what I'm gonna say.
All right, so you swap my heroic for Vitality, the second best team in the world.
Yeah. No, but I was thinking Spirit. I was thinking G2.
I know, but you know we just ripped apart Spirit and G2. The funny thing about G2 is they have a habit of winning a tournament and then just bombing. Like they're again.
This is a major though, so
I was saying it out loud now.
yeah,
G2 are probably going to go to the come second, and everyone's going to be like, NiKo's the best player ever. Oh my god. G2 will lose it to fucking Vitality, and NiKo will get more plaudits than Zyru. That's what's going to happen.
who are the favourites? Navi can't.
It'd be no. All the
If
top
Navi are favourites, then they can't do that well.
Well,
I'm going to take Navi out then. I'll take Navi out then.
And who are you going to replace it with?
Don't know. I would like to Eternal Fire.
Okay.
There you go.
Let's do it. Let's do it. Right, listen, guys, and that's it from us. Bit of a weird podcast because we're both a bit can't be asked.
Yeah, it's Sunday, man. What we're gonna do for the next one? Are we gonna chat? Should we chat offline about when we're gonna put the next one out?
We should talk offline, shouldn't we? Rather than bore these guys a bit. But,
yeah, we'll let you all know.
Listen, those people that continue to listen to us, we really do appreciate it. It's all a bit weird, and do you know what? Just comment, just say hello, just put hi if you listen, because you're legends. And we do this because we love CounterStrike. We do it because we enjoy watching CounterStrike. And last weekend we played pretty much 12 hours straight of CounterStrike. We did stream a lot on our YouTube channel, and just thank you. So we'll call it there. Sorry for the low energy. It's all love. GG.
Cheers, guys.